So today I'm taking inventory of my makeup collection. It's been about 7 or 8 months since I last did this. I try to do this at the beginning of every year. I know I'm a little late this year, but I think it's fine. You know, my collection hasn't changed that much since the beginning of January, so this is going to be my start of the year 2024 inventory. We're going to go through each category of my collection, count how much I have in every category, and I'm also going to count how many years worth of product I have in each category, because I think that's always such an interesting and hilarious metric, especially as we get into some of my larger categories. Since I've been keeping track of all my makeup empties over the last 7 years, I now have some pretty good data on how long it takes me to use up products, or on average how many products I go through per year in each makeup category. And then using those averages, I'll be able to determine about how many years worth of each product category I currently have in my collection. So I've already brought out all of my primers. I'm really happy to say my face primer collection has decreased in size since my last makeup inventory update. I now have 3 primers, 2 of which are technically minis, but I still count minis as full sizes. Unless it's like a true deluxe sized sample, I'll count it as half a product, but for like regular sized minis like this, I just go ahead and count them as one item. In July of 2023, I had 4 primers, and it was these 3 plus the e.l.f. Jelly Pop, which I have since used up. So I'm actually left with the same number of primers that I started 2023 with. I also had 3 at the start of 2023. The only one that's remaining from a year ago is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. Since 2017, I've used up an average of about 1 primer per year. So that means I have 3 years worth of primer in my collection. That being said, I don't see any of these lasting me more than another year, like 1 or 2 years. I feel like I should, especially because these 2 are minis. I feel like that number is actually probably closer to 2.5 years worth of primer rather than 3. But anyway, that's my primer collection. Here we have my foundations. I have 7 of these. This also includes skin tints and also my e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter, because I use it as a foundation mixer. Sometimes I also use it by itself as a foundation, so I figured it made the most sense in the foundation category. And I have the exact same number of foundations that I had 6 months ago. I do have 2 more than I had a year ago. And I started 2023 with 5 foundations, so I have grown just a little bit in the last year. One of the foundations that I had 6 months ago was the Urban Decay Hydromaniac. That I have since used up, and I also have since decluttered the Essence Pretty Natural foundation. But I've also brought in 2 new foundations. These were sent to me from Shop Miss A. The AOA Buildable Satin and the AOA CC Cream. So those are the 2 newest additions. Over the years, since 2017, I use up an average of 1.7 base products per year, which means I now have about 4 years worth of foundations. So that is good to keep in mind. I definitely don't really want to grow too much beyond this, but I feel like it would be reasonable to have maybe 10 foundations at a maximum, which I don't think I've ever had that many foundations at a time, but given that I do like to review products as well, it makes sense that things are going to grow and kind of fluctuate. So I wouldn't mind that number going to 10, but I also wouldn't want it to be much more than that. So anyway, those are my foundations. I now have 7 concealers and color correctors. I had 5 6 months ago, and I also had 5 at the start of 2023. So things have grown a little bit, mainly just because I have gotten more into color correctors. So these are my color correctors. One of these is almost finished. This is the Sigma color corrector. I just decanted what was left into this jar. So that'll be gone soon, and then I'll be back down to 6. But I have bought 2 new correctors since my last inventory update. The Revolution Eye Bright Corrector, which very well may be with me for years to come, because this is a huge, huge amount of corrector. Really great bang for your buck, but it is huge. So this is like the equivalent of 2, honestly. And I also bought the Milani Under Eye Corrector in the shade Rose. Not including correctors, I do have the exact same number of concealers that I had 6 months ago, and they're the exact same. So since all 4 of these are getting older, I'm definitely hoping to use up at least one of them this year. And I definitely wouldn't be opposed to bringing in some new concealers to try this year. I have my eye on the Natasha Denona one that everyone loves, and a few others as well. It's just been a while since I've tried a new concealer, so I'm just kind of interested to see what kinds of new formulas have come out recently. On average, I use up about 2 concealers / correctors every year. So that means I'm currently housing about 3.5 years worth of product right here. So what I'm taking that to mean is I probably wouldn't run out of concealer or corrector in 3.5 years. Like if I didn't buy any more, it would probably take me that long to use up all of this. I mean, you know, these are all estimates. Like we're not taking into account the size of the products. So I'm just relying on the beauty of averages to hopefully be good enough at telling us what the general trends are. I don't like to hold on to too many powders at a time because to me it's just kind of a boring product. I don't need to have very many to be satisfied with the options that I have. So this is what I currently have. I currently have 4 powders. One of them I just have some of it decanted into a separate container, but this is all Makeup Revolution Translucent Baking Powder, the e.l.f. Halo Glow Loose Powder, the CoverGirl Clean Fresh, and the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder, which has actually been growing on me. I've been using this as a face setting powder. Even though this is still a pretty small powder collection, I do have a lot more than I had actually 6 months ago and a year ago. My powder collection has doubled within the last year. I started 2023 with 2 powders, and then I had just 1 powder halfway through the year, the LYS pressed powder. So yeah, at one point I only had 1 powder, but it's been nice to have a few more options for powders. I definitely don't think I want or need much more than this. I mean, I would be fine with having like 5 to 7 powders, I would say, but for now, like, this is plenty, and I don't really think I have any powders on my wish list that I can think of. I usually go through a lot of powder every year compared to other categories. I go through 2.3 powders per year on average. So I have 1.7 years worth of powder in my collection, and that sounds about right to me. I definitely think I will use all of these up. It'll probably take me a while on this one, but these other 3 I can see myself using up within the next year. My setting spray collection has definitely grown since my last inventory. I started 2023 with 2 setting sprays. Halfway through the year, I was down to 1, the Urban Decay All Nighter. So all of these I brought in since the last inventory. This one here is actually just the Flower Seal the Deal Hydrating Setting Spray. I put it into this bottle because I like the sprayer better. Then I have 3 Makeup Revolution setting sprays, the Calming Fixing Spray, the Infinite Setting Spray, Sport Fix, and then this newest one here is the JLo Glow and Get It Hydrating Mist. This is more of a hydrating mist rather than a setting spray. This is the kind of thing that I would use if my makeup is looking kind of dry. This will kind of add some life back to it, but it definitely isn't meant for increasing the wear time of your makeup. But this one is so small. I think this is the only size it comes in, which is funny. So I mean, I've already used up quite a bit of this and I've only had it for a couple weeks. So honestly, I think I might use this up this year. I use up an average of about 1 setting spray per year. So that means I have 6 years worth of setting spray. That is kind of silly. Luckily, setting spray doesn't go bad very quickly, you know, so I'm not worried about it. The blush category. This is one of my larger categories, definitely. Blush also happens to be one of my favorite types of makeup, so I don't mind having a bit of a collection here. I have 20 blushes at the moment, 13 cream blushes, and 7 powder blushes. So it's kind of funny that I have more creams than powders. I guess that makes sense because I feel like I do typically reach for a cream blush. And then sometimes I'll apply a powder blush over it if I just want to add something else. But most of the time I'm at least reaching for a cream blush, if not both a cream and powder. So I think it makes sense to have a lot of creams. But this category really just puts a smile on my face. I love blush so much, and I just feel like I have so many beautiful options, all kinds of different colors. I definitely have a favorite type of blush, and that is these sort of nude peach colors. Oh, those are my favorite, but I'll dip into a cool tone or a pink every now and then as well. So I'm just really, really pleased with this collection. I started the year last year with 17, then halfway through the year I had 18, now I have 20, so it's just been kind of creeping up in size. I use up an average of 1 blush per year, so that means I have 20 years worth of blush. I have no comment on that. I have 9 bronzers, 6 of them being cream and liquid, and 3 of them being powder. I really love all of these bronzers. There was definitely a time where I was not much of a bronzer person at all, and I was fine with just having like 3 or 4 bronzers, but now I definitely like some variety. Again, I think it isn't surprising at all to me that I have more creams than powders. On average, I use up only 0.6 bronzers per year. That means with 9 bronzers currently, I have about 15 years worth of bronzer in my collection, so yeah. Again, it doesn't look like this would be 15 years worth of product, but I guess, you know, the numbers don't lie. Okay, I'm kind of happy at least that all of my highlighters fit on one row. I mean, kind of. I think these 2 are kind of spilling off the ends, so here, I'll just go ahead and make it 2 rows. But these are in order from oldest to newest. My highlighter collection has actually shrunk a little bit since the beginning of 2023. I started 2023 with 15 highlighters, and I'm now down to 10. I actually did drop all the way down to 8 halfway through 2023, so I did go up a little bit since then, but I'm still happy with 10. I feel like, especially compared to bronzer and blush, that is fine with me. 7 of my 10 highlighters are powder, if we are counting ColourPop Super Shock as a powder. I never know whether to consider this a cream or a powder, but I usually apply it like I would a powder, so I'm just going to include it in the powder category. So I have 7 powder highlighters and 3 cream highlighters. All of those are these stick highlighters. I've only recently started to enjoy cream highlighter again. I went through a long period where I just like was never using cream highlighter, only powder. Now I'm kind of alternating between the 2. Just like blush, I also use up an average of 1 highlight per year. So that means I have about 10 years worth of highlighter currently, which I believe it because it really does take so long to use up a highlighter. I have 2 eye primers at the moment. One of them is just a standard eyeshadow primer, the Milani one, and then I also have a white jumbo eye pencil from NYX that I count in this category because I use it as a base. I'm never really using this like as an eyeshadow, you know? I'm using it as a base under pastels or as a base for like a colorful winged liner if I'm doing that with eyeshadow. So I've actually cut my eyeshadow primer collection in half since the start of last year and halfway through. I had the exact same 4 eyeshadow primers at the beginning of 2023 and halfway through the year, and I now just have these 2. The Milani one is new. I ended up decluttering the Rare Beauty one because it just didn't work. The CoverGirl one I used up. I also decluttered the NYX glitter primer because it was just so old. I think it was like over 6 years old. So that one's decluttered. And then I'm just left with these 2. I might purchase another glitter primer, but honestly I feel like I've been living just fine without one. I went through a long period of time where I was using a glitter primer all the time underneath just about any shimmer. These days I just don't bother with that extra step very often at all, and I honestly haven't really missed having one, but at the same time, I don't know, it feels like a good thing to have on hand, so we'll see if I repurchase a glitter primer, but in the meantime, I'm really happy with just these 2. I only use up an average of 0.7 eyeshadow primers per year, which means I have almost 3 years worth of primer here. Honestly, I don't know if I will ever fully use up this NYX Jumbo pencil because I don't use it that often, but the Milani eyeshadow primer, I'm guessing it'll probably last me about 2 years, so that sounds like a pretty accurate estimate, honestly. Another very small category for me is brows. I'm actually really happy with this. I'm down to just 2 brow products, 1 brow pen, the NYX Lift and Snatch, and 1 brow glue, which is the Ardell. This category has also decreased significantly. 6 months ago, I had 5 brow products total. The beginning of 2023, I had 4 brow products total, so I'm down to just 2, and I'm so happy with that. I really hadn't been 100% satisfied with any brow products until I found this combo, and once I found this combo, I have not used anything else. I did declutter the brow pomade and the 2 brow pencils that I had in my brow collection previously, and honestly it feels so freeing to just not have those products anymore because I just wasn't going to use them anymore, and I just never loved the result that I got with those. I use up an average of 1.3 brow pencils and pens per year. I just have pencils and pens in one category. So I use up an average of 1.3 of these per year. This one is actually running quite low, so this one will definitely be done this year. So I definitely have less than a year's worth of brow pen remaining. And then I've never used up a brow glue. I have no idea how long this one will take to use up. I do know that I use up an average of 1 brow gel per year, so I'm guessing this will probably be similar to that, and I think I will probably use this up this year as well. So I would say I have under 1 year's worth of brow product in my collection, which that feels very nice. This is one category where I just do not feel the need to collect the same way that I do eyeshadows or blushes, that sort of thing, just because I'm not really changing up my brow look day to day. I just want them to look the same pretty much every day, so I only really need 1 or 2 things. Next, we have my category of single eyeshadows that are not magnetic. I now have 16 in this category. I have 8 of the potted kind and 8 of the stick kind, so that's a nice balance. I love this type of eyeshadow. So considering how much I have grown to love this type of eyeshadow, I think it makes sense that my collection of these has grown a little bit. It's actually doubled in size in the last year. At the start of 2023, I only had 8 in this category, and then halfway through the year I had 12. So it grew by 4 in 6 months and then another 4 in the last 6 months. Some of them I purchased and then some of them were sent in PR, so it's kind of a mix of both. Then I also have a separate category for liquid eyeshadows, and I am actually down to just 2 of these, which I'm really happy with. I really don't like to have too many of these because they do tend to dry out. So, you know, I only want to have like a couple at a time, really. I just have one of the LA Girl Dream Glitters in Rose Gold and the Hard Candy Metallic Eyeshadow in this really pretty purple shade. It's also got kind of like a golden shift. Really pretty shades. In my last declutter, I got rid of all but these because these were really the only 2 shades that I felt were really special to my collection. So these are my 2 liquid shadows, and that is down from 5 at both the beginning of 2023 and halfway through 2023. Here is my magnetic singles collection, and I also went ahead and pulled out my empty palettes, even the ones that aren't currently being used. I've decided to start counting my depotted shadows as magnetic singles rather than as their original palette. Previously, I was counting these shades from the BH Lost in Los Angeles palette as that palette because it is the complete palette. But I want to start mixing all of my singles together, and I think it just makes more sense to count those as singles instead. So that means I currently have 38 magnetic eyeshadows, but I've only brought in 3 new ones since my last inventory update, and those were the shadows that were gifted to us at the Creators and Friends holiday party. This one from Sydney Grace, this one from Sydney Grace, and then this one from Cleona. Then I also do have a lot of empty space here in my magnetic palettes. I actually just recently bought the Cleona palette because I'd always thought this was just such a beautiful design, the stained glass magnetic palette. I ended up buying one of the blemished ones. They had some of these palettes marked down because of some like minor imperfections. This one just has a few little like scuffs on it. Looks like it's like missing paint there or something. But the other side is perfect, and I was happy to get a little bit of a discount. The reason I bought this is because I am planning on depotting my other 2 BH Cosmetics palettes soon, and so I'm gonna need more space for that. And I also just want to start rearranging my singles more often, coming up with different color combos. So it's nice to have some different sized palettes to work with to do that. I also have these 2 small magnetic palettes from Shop Miss A. These both hold about 9 shades. And then I also have a single magnetic shade from the brand Z palette. This is nice to have if I ever just want to isolate one of my singles. So this is actually really cool to have, especially because it does fit both my clarity shades and smaller shades. So that is pretty handy. So that is what I have in the magnetic singles category. Next up, we have my category of eyeshadow trios and quads. I am happy to say this collection has stayed pretty much the same. At the beginning of 2023, I had 8 of these. Halfway through 2023, I had 5. I now have 6. So the only one that I've added in the last 6 months is this one from Kaja. This one was received in PR, and it is their Beauty Bento in Peach Madeleine. So I now have 2 Kaja Beauty Bentos. The other one I have is Chocolate Dahlia. I love these. Just so great for an easy, quick look, and I just love how little space they take up. And then everything else I've had for a while. We have the Quo Stacked Eyeshadow in Snow Cone, the Aether Beauty Citrine Quad, and then 2 of the Hard Candy Moods quads, Buzz and Purr. Okay, I can't believe I was able to fit all of them in frame, but these are all of my eyeshadow palettes, of course excluding trios and quads. Anything larger than that is here. I have 41 palettes at the moment. This number has definitely grown in the last year. I started 2023 with 25 palettes. Halfway through the year I had 33. Now I'm up to 41. Some of the new ones were purchased by me. A lot of them were sent in PR. I am on several different PR lists from like brands that put out a lot of eyeshadow palettes. So that's a big reason for the increase in palettes. I would say 41 palettes is okay with me. I feel like under 50, I feel like that would be pretty realistic to just keep it under 50. So that is where we are with palettes. So I counted up the total number of eyeshadows that I own, including every single pan in my palettes and my singles, my liquids, my creams. I have a total of 565 eyeshadows in my collection. I use up an average of 2.4 eyeshadows per year. So that means I currently have 235 years worth of eyeshadow. My eyeliner collection has shrunk a little bit. I now have 11 eyeliners. I started 2023 with 13. Halfway through the year I had 14. So I am down to 11, but I'm happy with this size eyeliner collection. Honestly, I'd be even happier if it was even smaller because I don't use eyeliner all the time. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel like I use all of these, so I may not use them all super frequently, but I know I'm at least using all of them. I use up about 1.4 eyeliners per year, which means I have about 5 years worth of eyeliner currently. I do have 7 mascaras at the moment. These 4 are the ones that are currently open and in use, and then these 3 are unopened. So the 4 that I have open right now are the Makeup Revolution 5D Lash Pal Mascara, the Ulta Beauty New Heights Mascara, the Milani Anti-Gravity, and the Lethal Cosmetics Charged Mascara. This one is in brown, and the rest are black. Actually, all the rest of these are black. I have really enjoyed having a brown mascara on rotation again. The Revolution 5D Lash Pal, this one I am going to be retiring probably in the next couple of weeks. I have it on my calendar when it expires, but I keep my mascaras open for 6 months, and so this one is nearing its 6-month expiration. And then after that point, I think I'm going to try to stick to these 3 for a little while and not open a new one because I don't like having 4 mascaras open at a time. Really, I would love to have no more than 2 open at a time, but sometimes I'll have one open that I just don't love, so then I'll open another one until I find one that I do love. But this is what we're working with right now. And then these 3 unopened ones, these are all ones that have come in PR over the last like 6 months or so. We have the Ciate London Wonder Wand, the Ilia Limitless Lash, and the 100% Pure Fruit Pigmented Ultra Lengthening Mascara. So I'm not sure which of these I'll open next. Let me know which one you think I should open next. My mascara collection definitely has grown in the last year. 6 months ago I had 2, and then at the start of 2023 I had 3. So things have definitely grown. Again, it's all due to PR. On average, I go through 4.4 mascaras per year. So that means with 7 currently, I have about 1.5 years worth of mascara, which does sound about right. I think it probably will take me about 1.5 years to finally work my way through all of these. That's okay. I'm definitely stocked up on mascara for a while though. Last time I did my makeup inventory, I decided to start a category for false lashes because typically I do have just a few of these floating around in my stash. Even though I hardly ever wear them, I definitely want to keep track of them, make sure that I'm aware of what I have. So this is what I have in the false lash category. 6 months ago, I had 6 pairs of false lashes and 1 lash glue. I now have, I'm going to say 15 pairs of false lashes, but the only thing I've added is this right here. This is just a big pack of the Ardell Seamless Underlash Extensions, which by the way, I think this is the only way I will ever wear false lashes again. So, I mean, I might still use these other ones. I wonder if you can just use regular lashes with the seamless glue. Does anyone know? Because I love this method of applying it underneath. With this glue, it just adheres like immediately to the underlash, like right underneath your lashes. It just sticks right to them. It's actually, it's wild. And it's all around just so much easier for me to use than regular false lashes that go on top of your natural lashes. So honestly, I could probably declutter these, but I may use them because some of these are styles that I do really like and want to try. Or some of them I have already worn actually and really liked, like this BK Beauty Martini one. Anyway, so my collection technically has grown by 9 pairs of lashes. I'm counting this as 9 pairs. I do have the ones that are missing here. I've already worn them, so they're not in here anymore, but I still have those and will rewear them, so I'm counting those as well. Anyway, so that's what we have in the false lash category, and then I also now have 2 lash glues instead of just the one. I have my regular Duo lash glue, which I also had in the last update, but I do now have the Ardell Seamless Bond and Seal, so this is pretty much essential to using these or doing it with this underlash method. So this is what I have for that, and then the Duo I have for just regular false lashes. So that category has grown, but in a way that I'm really happy with because I'm really enjoying these right now. I haven't really kept track of false lash empties over the years, also because you can use false lashes over and over again, so I'm not going to estimate how many years worth of false lashes I have here. Just know it's probably a lifetime's worth, considering how often I wear false lashes. These are all of my lip liners. I currently have 11 of these. That is an increase from 7 6 months ago and 8 at the start of 2023. So I have grown just a little bit. I love this category. Again, this is one of my favorite categories. And honestly, I love all of these. I feel like it's really hard to disappoint me when it comes to lip liner. Like, I pretty much have liked every lip liner I've met, but I love all of these. My favorites are the Kokie ones, the Essence Soft and Precise. I've also lately really been enjoying the Jones Road lip pencils. These have such a nice texture. I use up an average of 1 lip liner per year, so that means I have about 11 years worth of lip liner currently. Here are all of my lipsticks. I'm also including tinted lip balms in this category since they're also in stick form. I feel like they're kind of similar enough. Right now I have 26 in this category. I had 23 6 months ago, and I had 25 at the start of 2023. So my collection has really only grown by 1 in the last year. Really only grown by a handful, so I'm happy with that. I feel like this is a really comfortable number for me. I use up on average 1 lipstick per year, so that means that I have 26 years worth of lipstick. Isn't that wild that all of this right here is 26 years worth of product? That's ridiculous. I think we made it to the last category. These are my lip glosses as well as glossy lip stains and lip oils. I'm currently at 13 in this category. 6 months ago I had 11. At the beginning of 2023, I had 9. So this is also one of my favorite categories of my collection. I really love all of these, and honestly, I do think I will use most of these up. I use up an average of 1.4 lip glosses per year. So I have a little over 9 years worth of lip gloss. So keep in mind, these numbers are very much rough estimates based on only one metric, which is the average number of product that I use up per year. And I really just enjoy calculating those numbers for fun because it's just eye-opening to see how much makeup you truly have. And I definitely have more makeup than the average person could ever need. But the biggest reason that I enjoy doing these makeup inventory videos is just that it's a great way for me to make sure that I'm at least touching everything that I own periodically and familiarizing myself with what I have so that nothing is slipping through the cracks and going unused for long periods of time. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you like this format of makeup inventory videos. I kind of feel like I like doing them overhead more so than just face-to-face on camera because this way, you can really see the products and it's kind of fun to watch in the same way that a declutter is fun to watch, you know what I mean? Even though it's not a declutter. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had fun. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do also have a Patreon and a channel membership if you're interested in getting some extra content and also supporting my channel. I would love to have you over there. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon.